Hey everybody! I hope you had a great Easter and I hope you enjoyed the snow. That was kind of fun, wasn't it? Well, I'm really glad to be back with you this week, and we're going to be going back to the Old Testament to pick up on some of the stories where we left off before we celebrated Palm Sunday and Easter. So today we are in 1 Kings and we're going to hear about Solomon. And you probably remember, who was Solomon's dad? David, that's right. So today we're going to read in 1 Kings, and this is chapter 3, starting at verse 5. At Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon during the night in a dream, and God said, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." Oh, wow. Can you imagine that? What do you think you'd ask for? A treasure chest full of gold? Or maybe a new bike? I know. How about a big pile of money? Or a unicorn? Well, Solomon didn't ask for any of those things. Solomon answered, "You have shown great kindness to your servant, my father David, because he was faithful to you and righteous and upright in heart. You have continued this great kindness to him and have given him a son to sit on his throne this very day. Now, O Lord my God, you have made your servant king in place of my father David, but I am only a little child and do not know how to carry out my duties." Now, when I read that, I wonder, how old was Solomon? Well, most people think he was maybe like 20 years old. So if you think about a 20-year-old today, probably graduated from high school and maybe in his first or second year of college. Now, if you want to be a U.S. Senator, you have to be at least 30 years old. We don't let anybody younger than that be a ruler. And if you want to be the president of the United States, you have to be 35 or older. So Solomon was really very young to govern all of these people. Let's see. He said, "Your servant is here among the people you have chosen, a great people, too numerous to count or number. So give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong. For who is able to govern the great people of yours?" So he asked for wisdom to be able to make good decisions in being the leader of God's people. And the Lord was pleased that Solomon had asked for this. So God said to him, "Since you have asked for this, and not for long life, or to be rich for yourself, nor asked for the death of your enemies, but for discernment in administering justice, I will do what you have asked. I will give you a wise and discerning heart, so that there will never be anyone like you, nor will there ever be. Moreover, I will give you what you have not asked for, both riches and honor, so that in your lifetime you will have no equal among kings. And if you walk in my ways and obey my statutes and commandments, as David your father did, I will give you a long life." Then Solomon awoke, and he realized it had been a dream. Then he returned to Jerusalem, stood before the ark of the Lord's covenant, and sacrificed burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. Then he gave a feast for all of his court. So Solomon could have asked God for anything. He could have asked for a huge treasure chest of gold. But Solomon asked for a different kind of treasure. He asked for God to make him wise. And God did. Solomon ruled the people with wisdom that they had never seen before. He helped solve many disputes, and he built a beautiful temple for the Lord. And he shared much of his wisdom with us in the book of Proverbs. We're going to talk about a treasure of our own. In your email for this week for Sunday school, you got a template to make a little treasure chest that looks like this. And even if you don't have a printer, I'm going to hold the template up to the screen so that if you have an adult in the house, they can help you by tracing the template really carefully on the screen of your computer. Or maybe if they're really good at art, they can just draw it out for you so that you can cut it out and make a little treasure chest for yourself. Are you ready to hit pause? Here you go. All right, so I think it's easier if you decorate or color or glue on your treasure chest before you cut it out and put it all together. You can tell I didn't do that with mine. Mine's pretty plain. But what's really important is what's on the inside. You can see what I have in my little treasure chest. I picked some Proverbs, some verses from the Bible, and a lot of the Proverbs are about wisdom and really good things to know. And one of the cool things is that oftentimes they kind of come in two parts. So I like to put part of it on the front and part of on the back of my little pieces of paper here. So Proverbs 12:18 says, "Reckless words pierce like a sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing." And Proverbs 11:2, "When pride comes, then comes disgrace, but with humility comes wisdom." And Proverbs 12:3, "A man cannot be established through wickedness, but the righteous cannot be uprooted." So those are all awesome treasures. And I tell you, Proverbs is full of lots of treasures. But there's one more that I wanted to share with you. And this one isn't in the book of Proverbs. This is in the book of James. And you might remember that James was Jesus' brother. And he said, "If any of you lack wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all." And that's really great news for all of us. You don't have to be the king of a great nation for God to give you wisdom. It doesn't matter if you're young or if you're old, God gives generously to all. And wisdom comes from hearing God's word, from reading the Bible, from going to church and hearing the pastors preach or hear them preach online for now, and doing Sunday school lessons. And I really hope that today's craft is a blessing to you and your family and helping you grow in wisdom. So, as you're making your little treasure chest this week and maybe having an older brother or sister, mom, dad, grandma, somebody help you pick out some wisdom from the Bible to put in there, I just want to ask you to do one thing for me. If you would have one of your adults living at home with you take a picture of your awesome treasure chest and maybe a picture of some of the awesome Bible verses inside and email that to us at the church. I would love to show some of the pictures of your beautiful crafts in next week's video. Until then, God bless your week.